Hello, so this is going to be my third vlog for Western literature. My name is Jimmy Darby, and I'm doing this for my final project. Previously, I had been talking, I had ended with the theory of chaos and what chaos meant in the last book that we were reading. And that last book was Their Eyes Were Watching God. And so the chaos was a result of a storm. So they were all inside the cabin, and outside there was a storm brewing. It was a hurricane. And that storm was a demonstration of God's power because their eyes were watching God. They were watching God through the medium of which his power was the storm. And so the storm wasn't necessarily God, but rather it was a direct result of his power. And I related this because chaos is a really strong word. I decided to make it more of like a more modern, more like easy everyday use word. So disruption or conflict. So outside, the hurricane was a big disruption of life, a big conflict of life. And in any book really has a conflict that occurs in it, and that's really what makes the story. And so this book that we read last week, we read one book in 1 week. It was crazy, but it was a good book. It was called Winter's Bone, and this book was centered around a really big conflict. First off, I'm going to talk about the title. Winter's Bone. So winter is obvious. The setting takes place in the winter. And the term bone is that I read in the back. It was more about like the author's like answer to questions and stuff. The term bone was that it was like life throwing the main character a bone. And so I could go in more detail for that, but there's more stuff that I have. So a question that I put was, why winter? Why would we have the setting for winter? And I decided to explore this question myself, and it turns out that as I was thinking about it, what is winter? Winter is when it almost seems as though like nature just dies. So like all the trees, like they're losing all their leaves, and it's like if you look at it, like the tree is just dead basically. Like you can't farm in winter, like you can't do anything because snow is like covering nature. And then there's this rebirth into spring, and so I think that's a big like thing that happens in the book. Winter's Bone is that in the winter everything's at a standstill. Her life seems just to be dying, and then there's almost like a rebirth towards the end where it's spring. And so the main character is Reed Dolly. She's 16 years old in the book. She has a sick mom and she has two brothers. And the main conflict is that her father Jessup goes missing. And one of the biggest things that I feel that centers around this book is that there's this lingering feel of memories, of past memories. And so who Jessup was, that was a big thing that I was wondering throughout the book. Like, who was this guy like? He seems like a fighter because she's always talking about, oh, if my dad would just, if he was here, then he would just show you what's up. And then two, another memory was what her mom was like, because her mom, there's a quote where my mom is sick and she'll always be sick, but she throughout the book, she picks up pictures and she remembers like when her mom would be so lively and dance and go out for the night. And it seems like in the story where it takes place, everything is just like dead. The life is dead in the book right now. A big central theme in the book is blood and kin, and there's a number of unwritten laws within the book. So I'm going to go quick here. How does invisibility work in the book? Well, number one, it works through kin and blood. Ree is a dolly. She's predisposed to being a dolly, and there's a couple of examples where she tells the bondsman she's bread and buttered to be a dolly. Teardrop asking Ree if she has developed the taste for crank yet. So there's certain things where people will see her only as a dolly. She goes on this quest. She's a hero. That's an important theme. And towards the end, this hero changes her mind. She, instead of going off into the army, she chooses to stay. So that's a really big thing. It almost seems like a sacrifice, symbolic of Jessup's sacrifice. And there's more that I could talk about, but that's going to be it for my vlog for this week. Thank you. Bye.